Well, thanks to me, I'm battling a bit to hear you. I'm sure as you can hear in the background, there's a choir, a children's choir singing. Young people, thousands of them have already gathered here to wait for their moment to see the Pope. Most of them, of course, Catholics, but they have also been drawn from all sectors of Ugandan society. The airstrip where we are, the Kololo Independence Fields, is where the Pope will be coming in the next 3 hours or so. From what we were told, the Pope wants not so much to address them, but to have a conversation with young people of this country, just to push forward a message that they are the future, and not only are they the future, but they should begin to take charge of their own destiny. Africa, as we all know, is being led mostly by elderly men. And what the Pontiff seems to want to communicate, certainly from what has been said in the as preparations were being made for this trip, it is that he wants to slowly but surely start planting that seed among young people that they are indeed the future, and they are the ones who should begin to take charge of their destiny. Well, it's not without a context, obviously. We have seen what has happened in the so-called Arab Spring. In our own country, we've seen young people leading within a very short space of time, very influential movements that are beginning to change the face of our country, that are beginning to change the face of our continent. So he wants to have that conversation with them, to say to them, do what you are doing by all means, but also at the same time, do it with responsibility, because Africa, and indeed the world, wants responsible young people, responsible future leaders. To me?
All right, thank you so much. Well, there was our contributing editor, Vuyo Mvoko, live in Kampala in Uganda, updating us, of course, on the Pope, who's about to address the crowd in more than 3 hours, I understand. As you can see, of course, everyone there is waiting anxiously for his address. We'll cross back to Vuyo, hopefully, throughout the SABC, of course, just to find out what is happening there. But Vuyo, because you're still with us, let's just find out more from you regarding, of course, the Pope's visit there. Now, how has the Pope been received generally in Uganda?
Well, he's expected here, as you said, in about 3 hours' time, in just over 3 hours' time or so. He will be accompanied, of course, by members of his team, but also by the local, the Archdiocese of Uganda, the leadership of the Catholic Church in this country. And from what we have been told, they want that meeting to be the young people's meeting. They also want them to also say, to pass certain messages to him that he will hopefully be able to take home to the Vatican matters that the Roman Catholic Church broadly will be able to address, but also matters that in his conversations and meetings with world leaders, messages he will be able to communicate to those leaders as well. Of course, there was a request earlier before he arrived by leaders of the gay and lesbian community here in Uganda to meet with him and to share with him some of their experiences. For Uganda hasn't really been receptive to the gay and lesbian community. They wanted to meet with him just to say, to pass certain messages to him, but that message is not going to happen. But of course, a window is still open in the conversations that young people and other people who will be meeting with the Pope later on. In the meetings that will take place, they have been encouraged to actually make sure that they can pass some of the messages they want to pass to those young people who will be meeting with the Pope later on, and to other leaders of the diplomatic corps, leaders of the church, and so on, who will be meeting with the Pope. We don't know if they will indeed succeed, but when he is done with the young people later on today, he will also be meeting with leaders of other religions as well, because among the other things that he wants to encourage is cooperation and conversations within and among religious community across Uganda and across the continent. That is why he is going to the Central African Republic tomorrow. That is why he is going to a mosque tomorrow. He really wants these conversations to take place for what the Vatican has been trying to communicate through and throughout this period, is that he wants the world to talk and to never get tired of talking, for he believes that it is through talking that we can begin to understand ourselves, appreciate the experiences that we are getting from all corners of the world, and we will only be able to deal with our problems, deal with violence, deal with the problem of terror that has engulfed the world right now, the fear within and among all of us, irrespective of where one is coming from, irrespective of whether we believe from our vantage points that we are right. Let's have those conversations. Let's try to understand one another. Let's try to accommodate one another. And it is only through conversations that we can be able to put an end to violence, we can put an end to injustices, we can put an end to the inequalities that we are seeing throughout the world. That is why the people of the Roman Catholic Church are saying he has been so vocal about the role that the markets, the financial markets, the power that they have, especially over the poor, to control the destiny of so many people across the world. We should have conversations that say, how do we curb this? How do we address this problem? Because the inequalities are responsible, even in part, for the terror that we are seeing and that we so fear at this moment in our life. That is why he is beginning to have conversations with world leaders around the issues of environmental degradation. For he believes that by destroying the environment, we are destroying the future of the young people that he is coming to address here today, the future of the world that he continues to traverse and to have conversations with, to ensure that we have a better world.
Well, that's our contributing editor, Vuyo Mvoko. Thank you so much for coming to us live from Kampala in Uganda, of course, ahead of Pope Francis' address to, of course, the thousands that are in attendance